Pokemon Colosseum and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness are part of a niche Pokemon spin-off series that doesn't appeal to everyone, but delivers terrific gaming experiences for those of us who are into them. Mostly XD, as it is vastly superior to its predecessor in a way that almost renders it unplayable afterwards. With Gen 7 and the new Nintendo NX console on the horizon, and a new console Pokemon game announced for development, though we don't know what kind of Pokemon game it is, it could be a new Snap or a sequel to Battle Revolution, but I know myself and a lot of others would fall flat on our faces over a new Shadow Pokemon game, which is why I've made a list of improvements and tweaks to the formula that would serve a future sequel or spiritual successor well. Number 1, and the most obvious one, current gen. Given that the timing will be sometime in 2017, a Generation 7 Shadow Pokemon game would be incredible and doable, but I'd be almost just as happy if it were Gen 6. Honestly, I just need the caveats of Gen 3 to go away, like splitting the damage on multi-target attacks, replacing fainted Pokemon in double battles before the turn is over, and the physical special attack being related to type instead of the individual attack. I love all generations of Pokemon, but anything prior to Gen 4 has those logistical issues I find hard to overlook once you've experienced the optimizations of later gens. Number 2, battle format options. The last two Shadow Pokemon games have been exclusively double battle campaigns. I want to see the ability to play through the campaign with any battle style, and to be able to switch between them on the fly from the options menu or something. The closest thing you could have to a single battle in Colosseum was to put all your other Pokemon into the PC and then go 1v2 against your opponents with a Pokemon that had multi-target moves. It was a great way to farm XP and mount battle for singular Pokemon, but it's an annoying thing to have to set up. Let me pick my style depending on what I'm feeling like at the moment. NPC trainers in the regular Pokemon games get to insist on their preferred method of battling, why not me? Number 3, Shadow Pokemon Eggs. Now, the idea that two Shadow Pokemon whose hearts have been artificially closed would be able to share an intimate evening in creating an egg is mildly far-fetched, sure. But what if criminal organizations are stealing normal Pokemon eggs and modifying them to hatch powerful Pokemon? They hatch the eggs mechanically, keeping the eggs separate, alone, never getting to feel the presence of other heartwarming, friendly Pokemon, whereas when you take back the eggs, you can hatch them into purified Pokemon by carrying them around with you, and exposing them to the affection you give to your party. I'm not saying this replaces snagging Shadow Pokemon, it would just be a cool sort of collectibles side project. Maybe a small shipment of eggs got lost and scattered across the map in hidden locations Spyro 3 style, while some were recovered by peons you battle for them. I think it's cool. Number 4, Roguelike Elements. One in particular, a Shadow Pokemon randomizer that decides which Pokemon the Shadow Pokemon will be each playthrough, with safeguards to ensure things don't get ridiculous, like a level 10 Salamence being your first catch. Level and species cap the Pokemon, based on how far the character is in the game, like early game spinning a roulette wheel of options like Shinx and Purloin and Fletchling, while mid-game has options like Zangoose and Haunter and Vivian, and then late game can raffle around strong Pokemon like Mismagius and Druddigon. I've already played through each Shadow Pokemon game tens of times. Can you imagine the replayability having no idea what Pokemon you can expect? Part of my problem with the original Pokemon Colosseum is that the first 10 or so Shadow Pokemon you can snag are awful. Generation 3 Misdreavus, Furret, Noctowl? Nobody wants Noctowl. XD's pool of Shadow Pokemon is a lot better, but still could use the element of surprise. Also randomize the Pokemon that Mount Battle's trainers use. By the time I finished my last playthrough of XD, I could tell you Area 5 through 7's trainers and Pokemon from memory. I earthquaked them so many times. Supposedly there's a ranking system of Mount Battle trainers losing their spots and moving up and down, but I never see anyone in a different spot. Make it dynamic. Number 5, more starter Pokemon freedom and customization. The Colosseum games broke the mold by giving you Eevee evolutions to start with instead of your standard fire, water, grass choices, and that was amazing. But now it's time to push even further into variety. Everybody has a Pokemon they feel a certain connection to, sometimes more than one, and very rarely is it a starter. Like Clement and the Shinx turned Luxio from his past, I want my starting partner to be the most special to me, rather than going in a box like the starters do during 4th and onward playthroughs of the handheld games. Give us a wide array of first form Pokemon to choose, maybe make it part of customizing our character, like maybe we're visiting the Ore region from somewhere else, a specific climate where we already met our matching starter Pokemon, like maybe we came from a desert badlands, and have the option to pick Trapinch or Sandile or Darumaka, or many others as our partner, or some lush green foresty town with any number of options. I personally would come from a cold, snow-capped mountain town with a Mora by my side, and we'd proceed to tear Cypher a new one. Number 6, some kind of evil alternate storyline. Everybody secretly wants to join Team Rocket in Pokemon Red, but they won't let you, and you're so disappointed by it. In the next Shadow Pokemon game, it would be cool if there were an alternate campaign that allowed you to rise through the ranks of Cypher, or whatever criminal organization, and become the big bad boss as you wreak havoc across the region. Time and again, there would be the protagonist who meddles in your affairs, but instead of ruining your plans, you get to kick the shit out of him and send him packing while traveling on to mission success. Oh, it would feel so good to do that. Teach those do-gooder brats, they're out of their league. Number 7, that Voltorb flip game back. I used to spend literally hours in the casino, Game Corner, in Soul Silver just playing that Voltorb game for coins. I got pretty good at it. Once you learn the patterns and layout, it's mostly a skill and logic game with luck being secondary. I know that has nothing to do with the Shadow Pokemon games, but they are set in a more adult and harsh kind of world, so a gambling hall wouldn't be out of place. Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you have any more ideas for new features in a Shadow Pokemon game, you can type them in the comments. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.